4 साल की किशोरियों के साथ बलात्कार, बेटी के साथ पिता ने बलात्कार, इस तरीके के जो केसेस हमारे सामने आए, उनके लिए हम लोगों ने न्याय के लिए दरवाजा खटखटाया।
10th में पढ़ती थी जब मेरी शादी हो गई थी। मंजू मैडम ने बोला कि ठीक है मैं तेरे लिए बात करूंगी। फिर मैं वैसे ओपन का फॉर्म भरा है, अभी मेरी पढ़ाई कंटिन्यू चल रही है।
जैसे शादी हो गई और वो ससुराल आने जाने लगी, अब वो ससुराल गई है तो उनके फिजिकल रिलेशन वाला जो है उसमें वो काफी टूट जाती, क्योंकि अब वो कहीं मना करे तो उसके ऊपर प्रेशर आता है कि ये तो तेरा पति है।
This is Manju Khattar. At 13, she was a child bride. At 16, a mother.
For years, her life was a cycle of marital rape, torture, and abuse so common.
Her own family called it
लड़कियों के साथ तो ऐसा ही है, तुम्हें सहना पड़ेगा कि पोक्सो एक्ट बन रहा है, पोक्सो एक्ट बन रहा है और बाहर पोक्सो हो रहा है, उसका कोई।
Manju suffered 4 abortions from the violence. But this story isn't about her pain. It's about the army she forged out of that pain. An army of over 13,000 women across Rajasthan who are ending child marriage, who are rescuing battered women left for dead, who are staring down powerful families and saying, not anymore.
Who are arming girls with a weapon the world tries to deny them.
मेरा बचपन में बाल विवाह हो गया था, इसलिए इस कारण से मैं दूसरों को भी समझाती हूँ ये अच्छा नहीं है। तो मैंने सोचा ये शादी के कारण मैं किसी और की बचपन में शादी ना देखती हूँ, इसलिए मैंने आवाज़ उठाई और मंजू जी की सास में की।
जैसे कि मेरे ही परिवार में एक सगाई हो रही थी छोटे बच्चे की 7-8 साल की, फिर मैंने उनको रोकने की कोशिश की और बोला कि अगर छोटे बच्चों की अगर सगाई कर दोगे तो शादी करनी तय है, शादी करोगे तो इसका शारीरिक और मानसिक दोनों तरफ से नुकसान होगा।
Today, girls are becoming teachers, nurses, leaders because one brave woman proved what normal used to mean.
मैं बहुत छोटी थी, 8th क्लास में पढ़ती तक मेरा बाल विवाह होने वाला था और मैंने घर वालों को बोला कि नहीं मेरे को पढ़ाई करनी है, मुझे अभी शादी नहीं करनी है, लेकिन घर वाले नहीं मान रहे थे। तो मैंने अपने कुछ साथी जो मंजू दीदी हैं जतन संस्था में काम करते हैं उनसे जुड़ी हुई थी 6 सालों से, तो उनकी मदद ली और उन्होंने मम्मी से बात की और घर वालों को समझाया।
तो अभी हम लोग युवाओं के साथ मिलके उनका माइंड वॉश करने का काम कर रहे हैं, किस तरीके से हम लोग उनको इस चाइल्ड मैरिज से रोकें। तो हम लोग उनके क्या क्या अधिकार है, वो किस तरीके से अपना अधिकार है वो पा सकते हैं और किस तरीके से बाल विवाह रुकवा सकते हैं बगैर परिवार में लड़ाई झगड़े किए, ताकि जो बच्चे हैं अगर वो निर्णय लेने लग जाएंगे, उनकी समझ होगी तो जो माता पिता हैं वो भी उनको मानेंगे।
But why is this huge for India? Because Manju's story is the story of millions of women. Brilliant minds, fierce hearts, lost to early marriages, to violence, to the brutal economics of being born a girl.
We will never know the scientist, the entrepreneur, the leader they could have been. The data we found is the punch in the gut. For millions of girls in India, life is a funnel of exclusion and it starts early. 23 million girls drop out of school annually, often due to child marriage, period poverty, or safety concerns. And an estimated 1.5 million girls are married before 18 every year, according to UNICEF. That's 1.5 million futures negotiated away before they even begin. This isn't just a social tragedy, it's the single greatest drain on our national potential. Let's talk numbers, the real cost. India's female labor force participation is shockingly low, 37%. To put that in perspective, China is over 60% and even Bangladesh is around 40% and rising. Why does this matter? Because we are trying to power a multi-trillion-dollar economy with half our talent pool on the sidelines. The McKinsey Global Institute did a landmark study. They found out that if women participated in the Indian economy identically to men, we could add a staggering $770 billion to our GDP by 2025.
Let that number sink in. $770 billion. That's more than the entire GDP of so many countries. That's better schools, better roads, better life for everyone. And it's just sitting there, untapped. This is where Manju and women change makers like her become more than just inspiring stories. They become strategic national assets. Across India, this legion of women change makers looked at these systemic failures, but they didn't see dead ends. They saw blueprint for change and became the fixers. Let's meet some of them.
Challenge number 1. Normalized violence. For women like Manju Khatte, the law was a distant concept, but the violence was a daily reality. The system at the grassroots was broken. Manju's response? Building a parallel hyperlocal support system. When a woman is being beaten and the law feels a million miles away, Manju and her 13,000 strong army became the first responders, the community pressure and the safe house.
They show up, they stand between her and the violence. They make law a tangible reality.
Challenge number 2, economic disempowerment. Millions of skilled women in rural India are locked out of the formal economy. Their talent is there, but the bridge to the market is not.
Nuclear physicist Dr. Kalpana Shankar looked at our villages and saw these incredibly skilled women with no way to earn a real income.
So she quit her job to build that bridge. Her organization, Hand in Hand, doesn't just give loans. It forms women into self-help groups, providing skill training and then helps them market their products. Dr. Shankar has built an entire ecosystem from training to sales, creating 1.5 million jobs for women. Challenge number 3, lack of structure, not skill.
Ruma Devi, who never finished school, did something similar to Dr. Shankar, but with heritage craft.
Ruma saw that traditional Souf and Kashi Dakari embroidery was dying, so she organized the artisans, innovated with designs that appeal to global fashion houses, and built a brand that guarantees fair wages. She turned a fading craft into a viable economic engine for 30,000 families, proving that culture can be commerce. Challenge number 4, the healthcare gap. Women's health in India is crippled by two things: a lack of accessible technology and the silence of taboo.
Geeta Manjunath saw how hard it was for women to get screened for breast cancer. The fear, the taboo, the cost, the travel.
So she used technology to decentralize healthcare. Her company, Niramai, developed a portable device that uses a thermal sensor and AI to detect breast cancer early, without radiation, without touch, and at a fraction of the cost. This isn't just a better machine, it's a new system. It allows for screening camps in remote areas, breaking down the barriers of cost, fear, and travel that prevent early detection, which is key to survival. Challenge number 5, the period taboo. In so many parts of India, there's still an educational blind spot around menstruation, leading to shame, school dropouts, and health issues that persist for a lifetime. Aditi Gupta used design and storytelling to hack this silence. Her platform, Menstrupedia, uses friendly comics and simple language to explain periods and teach millions of girls about their bodies. She built an education system where there was only silence. She's not just providing information, she's systematically dismantling a centuries-old taboo that has tangible consequences for girls' education and health. Challenge number 6, the invisible world of trafficking. In the underground, brutal world of sex trafficking, victims are invisible commodities. Slow and complex, the official system often struggles to reach its darkest shadows.
Pallavi Ghosh built a human intelligence network and acts with the speed systems often can't.
Her organization, Impact and Dialogue Foundation, works with informants, gather crucial ground-level data, and then partners with police to conduct swift, decisive raids. For over 20 years, Pallavi hasn't just run an NGO, she has been a field commander in a shadow war. She personally ensures rescued girls get legal aid and rehabilitation, building a full chain of rescue from hell to hope.
These women had one thing in common. They saw a system broken for women, and instead of asking for a place at the table, they built a whole new one.
And in doing this, they're not just helping individuals, they're helping us unlock that $770 billion and build a country where every girl can reach her full potential.
This is why at the Better India Showcase 2025, we celebrated these women changemakers and the inspiring revolutions they are leading. We did it with a singular hope that their stories would inspire many more to start. These women prove that action, no matter how local it is never insignificant. It's not about having resources from the start. It's about choosing to be a part of the solution. It's about believing in one woman whose potential is bigger than the system designed to hold her back. And your action doesn't have to be building an army of 13,000 women or creating over 1.5 million jobs. Maybe it's about mentoring a young woman starting her career. Maybe it's buying from a brand that empowers women artisans. Or maybe it's simply about sharing this video with someone who needs to see that change is possible. You're adding Jawbreak to the foundation of a stronger and more equitable India. A ripple begins with one individual, and then this ripple becomes a wave, a movement towards the better India. So, what's your break gonna be? What's that one small change you've seen or made in your society? We are genuinely curious. Tell us in the comments below and let's inspire each other. If you believe in solutions, then please hit that like button. Share this story of hope and subscribe for more. Thank you for watching and thank you for being a part of the change, for being a part of a better India.